like reading because it'll teach you descriptive writing. My favourite book is Captain Underpants because they explain the characters well. This book has lots of humour.
A story can be like the sweetest song for a bird, or it can be as dark and scary as a stormy night. It can be about love, or it can be about revenge. When I'm reading, I'm in a world of my own. I love hearing an animal's personal voice.
I like reading because every single book is different. All books have different meanings to them. When I'm at home, I mostly read to myself. To improve your reading, you could, number 1, read with an adult. If you get a word wrong, the adult will help you. Number 2, if you don't know what one word means, look it up in the dictionary. Number 3, you can also find an adult and they will help you with that word.
I like reading because when you read, it's like you are in another world with your imagination. You can also make a connection with the characters. I like how clever the authors are with the blurb on the back. It makes me so intrigued.
I like reading because when I read, I become a character of the book. My favorite book is Family Hour because of the beautiful pictures. One of the best things about reading is it helps you with writing as well.
I like reading because it's fun and imaginative. Reading helps a lot with your learning, especially spelling. Books can be funny, scary, or weird. Books can take you into a whole new world. I love reading. Reading can also help you with writing. Every night before I go to sleep, I read. When I read, it's like the author's reading, not me. Reading is my favourite subject.
I like reading because some books teach me new facts. I do a lot of reading because it helps my brain and because it amuses me. At home I spend lots of my time reading books. They teach me words. My mum taught me to read when I was 4 years old. My goals in reading are to learn to read hard words and finish long books.
I like reading because it can teach you descriptive writing. My favourite series is Timmy Failure. I like reading because it takes you deep in your imagination and feels like you're in another world. My favourite series is the Harry Potter books, even though I've read 2 of them. I like Harry Potter because it's descriptive and exciting. I really like reading because reading helps me learn new and tricky words. My favourite book is Dark Paper Strikes Back. How I learn words is take words out of books. I like reading at home every day because it helps your learning. I like reading funny chapter books, but my favourite is The Stinky Cheese Man. I like books that have personal voice and humour, where you can imagine what's happening in the story. I like reading fake stories about the writer. For example, the 36 Story Treehouse. Reading can teach you descriptive writing. I like reading because it brings attention to your mind. My favourite books are Geronimo Stilton and Thea Stilton. I like their books because they are funny and humorous.
When I'm reading, my family does not bother me because it snaps me out of my happy place. I can imagine what the people look like.
I like reading because it's easy to learn. My favourite book is Middle School Showdown. It has lots of humour and secrets.
Reading an author's quality writing can help us write better. We are now going to share some fantastic quotes from a range of books, which were found by some of our students.
Every day, giraffes stretch lazily to reach the very tops of the trees. The next morning, Winter snuck up on the girl and sent a flock of goosebumps tingling up her arm.
The thought of sneaking by those teeth made him mighty queasy. Daddies are lovely, they're warm and delicious. They tickle you and hug you and shower you with kisses. Daddies are playful, they swing you around. You can ride on their shoulders or hang upside down.
Imagine a place where freedom is sweet, it's falling water, where fire is cool, gets your skin, the music sings in every breeze.
Snow drifted silently from the darkening winter sky.
He danced and he pranced and he capered about. But the moon was shining in the sky, illuminating the rooftops of my sweet new Mass city.
He could build snowbirds in the park and skate on frozen bird bath, then curl up in a cozy nest and watch the stars flickering like Christmas tree lights as he drifted off to sleep to a sleigh bell lullaby.
Down, 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 smack! It hit the water with a colossal splash and sank like a stone.
It was a fine bright day and Froggy was feeling hoppy. His fingers twitched and his wobbly toes twitched. The surprise turned out to be a stampeding herd. The earth trembled, dust choked the air. The wild beasts ran to the gorge, straight for Simba. He sought safety in a branch of a tree, but the branch bit under his weight. It burst out like an explosion.
A ballet of Spanish dancers twisted and turned in times graceful and well choreographed. Next, the big bad mouse is terribly strong and his scaly tail is terribly long. His eyes are like pools of terrible fire and his terrible whiskers are tougher than wire.
His heart surged as wild as the hurricane sea. Next, Pierre was so stunned he could only stare, his mouth hanging open like a haddock's. Next, Pierre staggered, the news shocked him like an anchor to his chest.
He heard the rhythm of falling rocks. Next, bursting the way that bubbles burst against your skin. Next, the mysterious language of water.
Beside an ancient forest, before you reach the sea, you'll see a tiny cottage and a happy family. When music sings in every breeze, the sound of rushing would have filled her ears. If she kept her eyes closed, she could imagine standing under a waterfall. Next, the queen's eyes fluttered. I've had enough, she said weakly. Wide is the tree that stands by the sleepy blue sea.
Up and down the ladder she crawled, searching behind stacks of grains and a long beam dusting with flour. From the smallest ant to the largest elephant, every living thing has a place in a great circle of life.
But like it or not, a cold, crisp morning always arrives with the smell of something chilly on the leaves.
The planets, Raccoon 6, lay concealed by a blue mist, shimmering in the midst of a cluster of stars. Where freedom is as sweet as falling water.
The salty spray from the rolling waves will smother him when he sits on shore. Icy streams flow down from the toes of gigantic glaciers. He pushed and he shoved and pushed and shoved until his ears were squashed and whiskers bent. The dreadful flock plunged under the bed and came out the other side, roughly the size of a Shetland pony.
The poem we will now perform is called I Opened a Book by Julia Donaldson. I opened a book and in I struck
songbook and I like songbooks. Reading is an extremely fun thing to do. I like reading because it is fun when you get to go on Storyline online and do rare reading. I like reading in the library corner and from all the other books in my class.
I like reading because reading is very peaceful and it can be complicated when you come across a word you haven't heard before.
My favorite book is A Savage Earth because it tells you all about volcanoes. Flowing lava flows, spits, hisses and crackles and seems to have a life of its own. My favorite book is the Lego books because you can build different sets and more. I like reading Green Eggs and Ham because it's funny. I like reading because it's challenging and it helps you learn. I don't have a favorite book because I love all of them. If you read every week, you will be a master of reading.
I like reading because I can learn the words when I read them. Some of them are funny, some of them are sad, and some of them are happy. Reading can help people get smarter and smarter. I love reading.
I like reading because when I get home, I can lie down and read a book. My favorite book is Ricky Ricardo's Mighty Robot. I like the first one because I get to know about how they get together. I like reading books because they are fun like mouse books. I like reading because there are many series. My favorite series is the Treehouse books. My favorite authors are Tom Engelberger and Andy Griffith.
I like reading chapter books because they have feelings about the main people. You can imagine without picture. One of my favorite authors is Joy Cowley because she writes funny and joyful stories.
I like reading because it can teach you a lesson. If you read carefully, you can learn new sorts of ways to use punctuation. My favorite book is T.S. Stilton and the Cloud Castle because it is very interesting.
My favorite series of books is The Diary of a Wimpy Kid because they are weird and funny. I also like them because they are in paragraphs. My favorite one is The Guys of Life.
Thank you for coming